One of my favorite stories, and you may have heard it a number of times, but I'll tell it again, is that when I was in the seventh grade at Stone Mountain Elementary School, back then they didn't have a middle school, it was elementary school then high school. Elementary school went up through the seventh grade. Anyway, I was a member of the 4-H club, and I was on the 4-H club rifle team. Now this is public school. So at any rate, we had to once in a while, I forgot how frequently, but whenever we were practicing shooting our rifles, we did that on the school grounds. So we had to bring our rifles to school. We did that on the school bus. The when the bus stopped for us and we had our guns, we'd get on board and we'd have to open up the bolt on the rifle if we didn't have it open already, show the bus driver there was not a round in it, and then we'd go back to our seats with our gun. We had the ammunition in our pockets, and when we got to school, we had to take it to the principal's office and leave it there until after school. And the main concern was that we'd be fiddling with it during class or whatever, I guess. It just never occurred to anyone, none of us, to shoot anybody with it. That was. So then after class, we'd go up to the principal's office, get our gun, go out there, and the teacher, who was a sponsor of the club, would set up the targets in the playground, and we would shoot our rifles. And then when we were done, we'd clear the bolt and get back, repeat the process, going back home on the bus. Showing the driver that there was no round in the chamber. But here again, whatever ammunition we may have had left, we still had it in our pockets. But that was a different day. I mean, the violence it just wasn't tolerated. People today talk about zero tolerance. I mean, it's nothing like it was back then. Back then, you had to call your teacher Mr. or Mrs. and yes or no, sir. And everything was very structured. No cutting in lines. I mean, and bad language would have gotten you tossed out. I mean, back in that day, just on the say-so of the principal, you could get expelled. I'm not talking about suspended. I'm talking about expelled. You never came back to the public school system there. And so it was a one strike and you're out kind of thing. So we just didn't have the bullies and the things back then. Really nice. It was a great time to grow up. And the early 50s the late 50s and early 60s were really great. My dad opened up his camera store on Ponce de Leon Avenue in 1962, and at that time Atlanta did not have a Major League Baseball team. They had a minor league team called the Georgia Crackers, and the Georgia Crackers Stadium was on Ponce de Leon Avenue, right across from the big Sears building in Atlanta. And that was about 6 or 8 blocks from my dad's store. And we'd walk down there, Donnie and I would walk down there and go to the ball game. And if it was a double hitter, it means we'd walk back up to the shop around midnight or thereafter. It'd just be me and him. And I would have been 14, and he would have been 10. And there was just no concern about safety. I mean, back in that day, there was, you just didn't hear about child molesters, and certainly a child molester rarely made it to court. You just didn't survive that long. So it's just a whole different age, and I miss that a good deal.